we practiced Monday in the high red zone, and just, talking in terms of situations, we try and hit different things. You got to make sure offensively, installation-wise, is getting the things you need to do on your base downs, which we work 1st and 10 every day. 3rd down most every day. We try to at least. Wednesday, worked on a low red zone, short yardage goal line, worked 3rd down and first and 10 situations again. Always trying to preach to be a really good, situationally good football team, to understand situations, especially for young players, from a call standpoint, for our guys to have a better understanding in certain situations of what they can anticipate to be called. And when your guys start thinking that way, it's a really good for you. We actually went yesterday afternoon. I thought we were going to have some bad weather. It looks like our weather's holding up pretty good out there. But to also create a little distance between scrimmage Saturday, we'll just meet today and have some walkthroughs. But yesterday we worked a lot on 1-minute situations, end of game, red zone again, 3rd down. And good to put our guys in those situations. I call it more of a loose downs practice, not as much banging, but putting the ball in the air a little bit more. And I think it was good for our team. I think we responded real well. Real pleased with the installation offensively where we are and what we're doing. Punting-wise, Johnny Townsend and Kyle Christie are hitting the ball extremely well. Both guys can really punt the football well. We've got a great competition going on there. Austin Harden has hit it consistently the same way, well at times. We need to get more production, but I think we've made some strides with his swing. I equated it to a golf swing. It's got to be the same swing all the time, and that's where last year we didn't do a good enough job of getting him consistently hitting the ball the same way all the time, because he has the ability. But again, I think that's as much as anything in watching the film and studying his leg swing, that's what we're seeing right now, which is good. I think we have great competition on special teams as far as our coverage and return units. Guys are really competing. You see us in a lot of different drill work as far as holding up or covering a kick, and really pleased with how that's going. On the offensive line right now, DJ Humphries, Max Garcia, and Chaz Green really playing well. Max has had some snaps here and there that haven't been as good, but I really like where those guys and the direction we're headed there. Starting with those 3, Jeff completed over 70% of his passes yesterday. In situations where I was creating more longer down and distance situations, throwing situations. Pleased with that. Defensively, Dante Fowler continues to play extremely well, hard, tough. He's practicing with a purpose every day. He goes out there every day and really competes. Brian Cox, I've been very pleased with Brian's production. It's really allowed us to do some different things with John Bullard, to get our best players on the field, because John can play end and tackle, and I think that creates depth on your football team. But John's a really good nickel rusher inside. He really can match up against some of the guards that we're going to face. Athletically, he's over 270, but he really can move and push the pocket. Morrison and Taylor and Davis continue to do well at linebacker. All 3 of those guys have been very productive for us, and Vernon Hargraves is having an outstanding spring. So feel really good about those guys, to recognize those. Injuries right now, Rod Johnson probably be back Monday. He has not been cleared. Chris Thompson took a shot the other day. He'll probably be cleared Monday. Andre DeBose has been cleared for non-contact. He practiced yesterday and was and also a little Wednesday, but was in team drills yesterday. He's in an orange jersey, so he's non-contact. But it's good to get him back on the field and getting him involved in the offense. And Marquis Hawkins is a young man we moved to safety on Wednesday. Felt like, again, Keanu's been out, and I had some other guys banged up. We felt like we need to create some more depth there. He was a safety at Carver in high school, and I wanted to move him and give him some opportunities to see how that looks there. And we'll see how that goes through the scrimmage tomorrow and make some decisions next week on some other position guys that we may try to move around.
Any updates on Nolan Keller or Colin Thompson?
No, not at this time. Nolan will not go through spring, and he's going to see another specialist here in the coming weeks. And Collins was asked to be totally off of any physical activity other than just lifting till after spring, and I believe it's April 15th or 16th. Well, he's going to see another specialist.
Well, some of the running backs yesterday said
I think so. I don't think there's a, from a running back standpoint, there's some different footwork and angles as far as where we were before when the quarterback's under center. Sometimes from a pistol standpoint, it gives the defense problems as far as how you set your front. A lot of pressures are designed to the back or away from the back. So when the running back's in a pistol situation, that creates issues. A lot of running backs don't like that because they're standing behind somebody and it's hard to see. So that's always been a little bit of an issue. We've done a little bit of that. We're moving the back a little bit more. The run angles are a little different, but running the ball is running the ball. You get the ball in your hand and try and create some downhill running game. We were doing a little bit more as far as the outside stretch and the down and arounds. As we refer to them, gap scheme plays. But for the offensive line, it's the same. You're running a counter, you're running a power. But for the angles for the backs have been a little different. But I've been pleased with how they've, some of the cuts and Kelvin and Mack and those guys have done a nice job.
Why the Hawkins move? Numbers?
Well, I think, as much as anything, numbers. He played safety in high school, so it was always, I thought he was a physical player in high school and did some nice things, and we'll see how he does. It's hard with us. We're so far along defensively to make that move midstream is tough on him, so we've been out getting him lined up and those sort of things, and, just see how he instinctually plays the game. He wasn't making a whole lot of movement at receiver, and we felt like it was the best move for him and us.
Talk a little bit about the two freshmen defensive backs that came in early.
Yeah, Duke Dawson and Jalen Tabor are both really good players. Duke is playing the corner and nickel, very physical. He's really heavy-handed, meaning that he gets his hands on people really effectively. And he's very strong in his upper body, and his lower body is weighing about 195. Very well put together, athletic, has really good ball skills, is a physical player, and both of them are quick learners. Really do. They learn extremely well. Jalen is a guy that's got some length on him. I sat him down the other day, and I said, when you're a fastball pitcher, you throw fastballs. And I said, he's got to stay on the line of scrimmage more in his press. He's backing off people. I said, if you're a fastball pitcher, throw fastballs, don't throw curveballs. Back off every now and then, but you stay with your fastball. And what you do well is play on the line of scrimmage with your hands on people. And so I think he did a much better job of that Wednesday and Thursday as opposed to Monday. Now, the great thing about both of them is they are very coachable. They're listeners, and they listen extremely well. They take it from the meeting room to the fields extremely well. They adjust very well on the run, which we have to a lot on our defense and what we're trying to do. But I've been very pleased with both players.
Do you consider the corner spots mirror images, or is there a field and a boundary?
Well, we'll look at some things in the fall when you have a guy like Vernon from a matchup standpoint. But as far as installation in the secondary, I always like to look at a right and left safety and a right and left corner as you install the defense. Simple reason is when you do face some teams that will give you some change of strength motion, you have to sometimes play the strong safety or play the free safety position as most people would look at it. So when they motion, all of a sudden you're not the free safety anymore. Now you're to the strong side of the formation. When we get into the season, sometimes we like to have a box guy and a middle field guy. You can't always dictate that based on formation because sometimes teams, especially in hurry up, can make you have to change how you do that. But I think it's best a teaching standpoint of going right and left and then take the right guys and put them on the left side a couple days and take the left side and put them on the right side the other day, so they're seeing the ball and the angles of tackling all from different angles. But from a teaching progression, it's better to do right and left instead of narrowing it down and then all of a sudden you play a team that goes in motion. Well, he's never done that before. So from the teaching progression, that's the best way to do it.
What is it about Brian Cox that's got your full attention and has impressed you so much?
I think his motor. He plays hard. Football is really important to him. He plays with an edge. He goes out every day and works hard. Brian was an off-the-ball player in high school. Came in. We kind of didn't know if we wanted to play him at linebacker, play him at defensive end. We knew he would continue to grow because he was young. He's a young senior coming out, so he still had a lot of growth potential. But I think his strength levels are up. His body weight's up. I think we had him at 260, 258 or 260 the other day. So he's being able to hold the point much better. He's using his hands much better on the line of scrimmage than he did a year ago. He's made really remarkable improvement with using his hands on blocks. Still sometimes when we sink him down and play a 4 technique, which is head up the tackle, he's got to be able to hold the point in there a little better at times. But I've been really pleased with, just how he continues to progress, and it's very, coachable, and you can't coach a motor. The guy either plays hard or he doesn't. You can coach him through it, and you can bring him along, but the guys that have that natural ability to play hard, you can build off that a lot.
How do you feel right now about pass rush? And that's something that in your whole time here, like a lot of coaches, you could always use more of that.
Ain't no doubt. It's the best pass defense in America if you can rush the passer. So, I think we have a special rusher in Dante. And there's no doubt about that. So you build off that, and you find different ways to create some situations for him. And, having Brian Aracapo at Texas and Sergio Kendall and Jason Taylor at the Miami Dolphins, you build off that. You find out where are you going to get the matchups on him, whether it's inside or outside. We started at the latter part of the season, actually, against Florida State. We put him at nose guard, to get him in a one-on-one matchup. Those are things that you can do with a special rusher, and then you build off of that. I think John is a very good nickel rusher inside. He can really match up on some of the guards in our league. I think Naran Ball's a guy that we need to get more edge pressure. Alex McAllister is a guy that needs to continue to develop to be that. He's about on track time-wise of what we thought. Alex was a guy that came in and only played 2 years of high school football. Came to our camp. He jumped over 10 feet, a broad jump, which is outstanding explosion. He vertical close to 40 inches. But he hadn't played football much, and he hadn't been in the weight room at all. He'd been a basketball guy. But now he's up to 242, 245. He can hold the point a little bit better. He's starting to understand about leverage, and he's got natural pass rush ability to flip his hips in the rush. So he has the things we saw, and we knew it was going to be a while, and you never know in those situations how quickly they're going to take off and go. And just been real pleased with how he comes. We need another good edge juice rusher. We need somebody else on the edge to give us a little edge pressure.
What do you have to get out of this scrimmage?
Well, I think execution, number one. I met with DJ and Kurt this morning and the entire staff, and I said I'm not looking out here to trick anybody. We need to go out and execute. We're installing the offense. We need to vanilla some things up defensively and just get our guys to play blocks and run to the football. And when you can get that, and you can get great effort and technique, and that's what we're really honing in on being a better technique football team defensively as far as playing blocks, leveraging the ball, all of those things. I don't want to get into exotic pressures on third down. I'm not looking for that right now. We're looking for really good execution, really good effort, really good fundamentals and technique, and just continuing to build on where we are offensively.
Will the offensive coaches be a little more hands-off, I guess?
No, I told the coaches this morning, I said, I understand in some situations, especially with mid-year kids, if you feel like you need to interject on the field and help them out a little bit so they don't get the frustration level for a player. What happens is, there's so much going on. It's the first time in that stadium, the first time kind of everybody's been off, and then all of a sudden, all that starts setting in. So I don't want a young player to get frustrated, but we will use a game day operation situation at this time. That's what we've decided, and get off the field and let them play. See where we are. And a lot of times for a player, it's great for they're pretty honest with themselves as far as self-evaluation of how far am I away from really learning and knowing what to do and do it on my own.
DeBose is kind of underachieved, I guess. What do you hope to get out of him in his 6th year here?
Well, he's the leading kickoff returner in UF history. Certainly, we're looking for a couple kickoff returns from him. That'd be nice. I think that there's some, he can be really special with the ball in his hands. But I think his work ethic from last year was very good up to his injury. I was extremely pleased with where he was. And, to me, with Andre, it's always been the battle of consistently doing it well. And that's what I think he understands that. I like where he is right now from a maturity standpoint. From a work ethic standpoint, and all of those things, I'm extremely pleased at this point.
How much more mature is he now than maybe when you first got him?
Well, he's a long way. You can ask him. He'll tell you.
You don't do comparisons, but the previous guy here did, and he compared him to Andre DeBose. Is this kind of, is he maybe a good example of
He
why
compared Andre DeBose to Andre DeBose?
I mean, he compared him to Percy Harvin.
Right.
Sorry. Could have compared him to Andre DeBose. But is that a good reason of why you don't do comparisons?
I think it puts a lot of undue pressure on a young man. Maybe that's something you do. I just, in my opinion, it's always hard to. Everybody's different, you know, and there's some similarities in certain guys' abilities or physicality or whatever it is. That's the way I choose to do things.
How much do you expect to get out of Jalen Trickle to be in the passing game in his first year?
Well, again, I think it's really early to tell right now. I'm very pleased with where he is, and he's a really good athlete. You know, he's a guy that can do some different things as far as what we're looking for at that position. He fits it extremely well. You know, I think it's, you know, we have 9 guys here. Drew's a junior college player, so it's really 8 high school guys that should be, you know, going to the prom, you know, next month, and they're out here scrimmaging and going in 3-on-3 and all that. So I think he's done a really good job. I'm very pleased where he is. I think it's a little early to tell right now how much he will contribute.
How much were the linebackers affected last year by losing a guy like Easley?
Oh, I mean, it's, you know, you ask them, they'll tell you. You know, when you have a guy up front, I was talking to a head coach from the NFL who was here the other day. He said, you know, he said that people don't realize how much attention a player like that demands. You know, you got a game plan for a guy like that, and it frees up other guys. I mean, there's some other guys' production kind of went down a little bit when Dominic wasn't in there anymore. So it does. It affects you tremendously. But, you know, there's certainly, you know, as far as we talk about first-level players and second-level players, and you talk to offensive coaches, it's so important to secure first-level players. Well, when you're double teaming or slipping up to a second-level player, if you're not concerned about the first-level player and he's not a good enough athlete to make the play, those blocks happen a lot quicker because their offensive line coach is telling the offensive lineman, don't worry about the first-level player. He's not good enough to get there anyway. When you have a guy like Dominic Easley, they better hang on that first-level player for a long time or they won't get anything off. And that's what's, you know, those are the things that happen. You get blocked a lot more when you lose a guy like that.
What have you seen out of that kind of trio of inside linebackers yet through these 6 practices?
Well, instinctive, tough, you know, hard-nosed guys need to continue to work in coverage as far as zone concepts are concerned. It's a little bit hard, and I've coached in this defense for a long time, and I've also coached linebackers. We are so much of a man pattern match team, then all of a sudden you introduce a zone concept, and as a linebacker, you get so used to read and run pass, diagnosing the play, and then you're trying to match a route. And that's something that's hard, you know, over a period of time to learn, especially for a young player. Now, those guys have been in our system now, and I think I've seen some positive steps forward at doing those things. But just continue to be productive in what we do, align the front, get them lined up. That was one thing that affected us at times last year, especially when we lost Dominic from a senior leadership standpoint, because, you know, he was making a lot of calls up front for us as far as run pass and as far as front calls, checking it based on the back, based on the tight end, whatever it was. And we didn't have the communication we had the previous year with John and Jelani.
The NFL this week made it clear that they're going to clean up sportsmanship on the field, and they said the NCAA asked them to do it. I feel like there's a problem at this level.
I didn't think it was a big problem, but I think it's great that they're doing that.
Because of trickle down.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Secondly, Northwestern, pretty big decision this week. May not have effect at all, but any thoughts on potential unionization of players and giving them a seat at the table in terms of decision making?
I've been totally immersed in our football team and March Madness.
Me too.
I don't, be honest with you, can you tell me what happened? I don't even know what happened.
Northwestern won a ruling that allows them to unionize, private schools to unionize, so the players can have a union. And they'll have a seat at the table in terms of making decisions.
I have no comment.
And it could lead to financial.
You got to be kidding me.
Financial implications.
I got no comment. I don't even. That's way above my pay scale right there.
Any final questions?
Backup defensive lineman, Taven Bryan, Jordan Shearer, can you talk about those guys?
Jordan, you know, hyperextending his elbow. I'm hoping to get him back Monday. He's been involved in some, you know, the movement part of practice, but not any of the contact. But, you know, again, shown some pop and had knee surgery last spring before he came on campus, and needed to continue to build muscle in that knee throughout the fall. But I think we'll see some positive things out of him as we move forward. Taven Bryan is a really strong core guy. You know, he's got really good strength. He's still learning the what we do defensively, but I'm very pleased with where he is. I mean, he's a guy that's got the intangibles, and he's got the physical ability and athleticism to be a really good player. Now, when that's going to be, I don't know. But he's got what we want. I mean, he's got length, and he's a really good athlete. He really can bend his lower body and change direction. Just got to learn, you know, how quickly the game moves, especially up front. Janard Bostic's done some nice things in the run game as far as, you know, playing blocks up front. You know, Caleb Brantley is an extremely talented guy that's just got to battle through playing hard all the time and understanding, you know, that they may actually have like an 8-play drive. He might have to play 8 plays in a row. You know, and Antonio Riles has done some nice things for us. So I think we've got some really good depth of big guys up front, and so I've been pretty pleased with what we've done.